Hi. So, in the previous video, we've learned about all the elements of IEA model. So, now we have enough knowledge to start to find model equilibrium. But before we do so, let's do some simplifications. Look, this is equation for IS, LM, and BP that we've already obtained, right? So, what I would recommend to do for just now is to call these four variables Z, and those two variables U. Why? Look, it's really complicated in a sense that we have to put a lot of entries in matrices with this expression. So let's skip it and let's just make it simpler. Okay, here I forgot why. Okay, so now having this, we can put this system of three simultaneous equations into matrix notation. Okay, and let's do so. So we get 1 minus b, 1 minus t plus m. Okay, negative m. And then we got e, negative l w, negative v, 0 v. Okay, and our endogenous variables, income, interest rate, and exchange rate. However, we're going to solve this model only for income and interest rate. Once we get into implicit function rule, we're going to get also into exchange rate, but with implicit function rule, it's going to be way easier to calculate it. I don't want to torture you too much with this already. Okay, so we've got the Z, M0, and okay, so our first task was basically to check if this model has an equilibrium. So whether the three lines, IS, LM, and BP, are actually intercepting at the same place. Okay, so what should we do? Well, first, we should calculate the determinant, right? So, we calculate the determinant, of course, of this matrix of coefficients. And look, let me just point out one very simple thing. Right away, what we can do is take out of this determinant v, right? Out of the last column. And it's going to look like this. V, 1 minus b, 1 minus t, k, negative m, e, negative l, w, negative 1, o, 1. Okay, and look, this is going to make our lives, you know what? Let's do it, let's go even further. Let's take negative. So it's gonna be, like that. Okay, so, yeah. So, next thing we need to do is, of course, to use Laplace expansion. In this case, the candidate row is pretty obvious, right? So, what do we do with this? Okay, so first, I'm taking this negative v, okay, so first I'm expanding by this element, so I'm getting that this is negative v times negative 1 to the power 1, 2, 3, 4, which is one element is 1, and times k, negative l, negative m, w. And of course, here we have negative 1 to the power of 6, so we just put this. Okay, what do we do next? Well, we just need to calculate, everything out, and there's not much more we can do about it. So there's negative v. Oh, and let me take this negative v out of the entire expression, and here we've got kw. Kw minus ln, and out of here we will have minus, right? Because I've taken negative v out, and I'm going to have minus, so plus 1 minus b times 1 minus t. Oh, I forgot plus m. Plus m times L. Yes, and here we will have with the opposite side k times e. So minus k e plus k e. Yeah. Okay. So what can we see here right away? Well, we can see that this negative ln is cancelling each other out with this m times n, right? Well, the rest we just need to organize properly. And this is negative v times 1 minus b, 1 minus t times L. Plus k e plus w. Okay, and everything checks out. Okay, now what we need to do now, of course, is to assess the sign and make sure that this is different than 0. Now look, we see clearly again that this is between 0 and 1. This is positive, positive. Here we have two positive things. Everything here is positive. This one is positive, minus in front, so this is clearly lower than 0. And because of that, we can be 100% sure that equilibrium solutions exist. Okay, we will need this for later, so let me just put it down here. That the determinant A is equal to negative v times 1 minus b times 1 minus t L plus k e plus w, like that. Yeah. And we know that this expression is lower than 0. Okay. So now that we know that the equilibrium exists, next thing we need to do is, of course, find equilibrium just income and interest rate. Okay, so let's start with equilibrium level of income. So first we need to calculate the determinant AY. So we substitute the first row and we get that this is Z and 0 U E negative L W negative V O V. And look, again, first thing we can do is to take negative V out. So we've got Z and 0 U E negative L W 1 0 negative 1. Okay, and then again we need to use Laplace expansion. So we've got negative V, and out of this we're going to get just m0 minus L U W Okay, so now let's calculate it all out. We've got that this is negative V times Wm0 plus Lu plus, because here we will have minus and plus, so we've got plus Lz, right? And we will have minus, so plus EM0. Okay, at this moment, it is good to combine all the expressions, organize all the expressions. So we've got negative V, we've got L times U plus Z, which will cancel each other very nicely in a second. And we see also that we've got plus E plus W times M0. Okay, let's move on further. So, what do we have? Now let's substitute for U and Z. And what do we have? U is negative x0 plus W, W, and then plus A plus D plus G0 plus X0, and here nothing changes. E plus W and Z. Look, now those two exports are canceling each other out, and what we get out of it is that this is negative V A plus D plus G0 plus WIW L plus E plus W and 0. Okay, now knowing this, we can actually calculate the equilibrium level of income. Okay, so equilibrium level of income is given, of course, by AY over A, which gives us negative V and we divide by the determinant, right? Determinant that we've got here. Okay, so this is 1 minus B, 1 minus T, L plus K, E plus W. Okay, and look, this is gonna be a common theme, but look, we've got negative W on the top and on the bottom. So they cancel each other out. We get this expression. And look, every element of this expression is positive, right? So it is actually showing us that income will definitely be positive. But let's write it in a little bit different way. Look, I'm going to write it like that. I'm sorry if it's going to be a little bit long, but it's going to be worth it before our next video. Okay, so we have L, and 1 minus B, 1 minus T, L plus K, E plus W times A plus D plus G0 plus W I W plus, and again we've got the same denominator, M0, and here we've got E plus, we've got E plus W. Okay, why did I written it this way? Look, what you see over here is actually the expression when we separated real and nominal values. To some extent. Okay, maybe except for word interest rate, but look, from this expression, we will be able to see what happens if government spending increases, and here, if money supply increases. So those expressions will give us comparative static derivatives quite easily. And look, again, we could rewrite it differently. We could divide numerator and denominator of this by L, and we will get expression like this. And look, what you see actually in this expression over here is again crowding out effect. But now there are going to be two crowding out effects, internal and external. And we are going to discuss them later. But remember that still this expression that you see over here is associated with crowding out. Okay, so now that we've got the equilibrium level of income, now this is time to get into equilibrium level of interest. So again, we need to just calculate the appropriate determinants. And once we do, we will be able to find it and then transform it into the form that's going to be convenient for us once we start calculating comparative static derivatives. Okay, so now AI, and we got 1 minus B, 1 minus... okay, I'm going to do one thing right away, not to waste time. I'm going to take negative V again. So we've got 1 minus B, 1 minus T plus M, K negative M. Now we've got Z and 0 U, and we've got 1, 0, negative 1. Okay, so again, we start by Laplace expansion. We get that this is K M0 negative MU minus, minus 1 minus B, 1 minus T plus M, K Z M 0. Okay. So now we need to multiply everything out, and we get that this is KU minus MM0, plus, because it's going upstairs, right? And now, minus 1 minus B, 1 minus T plus M0, and minus, plus K0. Okay, and look, again, I hope you can see that right away, those two expressions are canceling each other out, which will make things simple. Now what we need to do is again, add the expressions for U and Z. And look, if we do so, we're going to obtain the same outcome that we've got over here. X0 and negative X0 are going to cancel each other out. But let's just do it. So we've got now we will have K times negative x0 plus wiw. Now we add z plus a plus d plus g0 plus x0. And we see that those two cancel each other out, and minus 1 minus b times 1 minus t m 0. Okay. And basically, this is the outcome that we were actually looking for. So the only thing we've got is to calculate equilibrium level of interest rate, which is given by AI over I. And let me point out right away that you look again, here we've got negative V, just like in the determinant, so they will cancel each other out. And let me rewrite it into two expressions also right away. So it's going to be easier for us once we start calculating comparative static derivatives. Okay, so look, let's start with this one. So we will have here k. Of course, the time divided by denominator. So we got 1 minus b, 1 minus t, l plus k. E plus W times A plus D plus G0 plus WIW. And then, look, we have minus. Again, we have expression with the same denominator as here. So 1 minus b times 1 minus t l plus k e plus w. And here on the top, we're going to have 1 minus b times 1 minus t, and here we have m 0. Because look, right away, just from looking at this result, what can we see? Well, we see that, for example, government spending is going to increase because this expression is positive. Interest rate should go up, right? And from here, we get that the higher the money supply, the lower the interest rate. And of course, look, it's mathematically possible in this case, if money supply is high enough, for the interest rate to be negative. But of course, don't worry about this. The topic of negative interest rates is also something that you're going to touch upon quite a lot in your macroeconomics class. Okay, so now we found equilibrium in this model. So of course, our next task is to examine effectiveness of fiscal and monetary policy in affecting GDP. And this is going to be the topic of our next video. Take care.